Welcome to another edition of Lakeville City Council Wrap-Up. During this program, we will highlight the agenda items presented to the Lakeville City Council at their June 6th, 2016 meeting. First highlighted item on the agenda is item number 5, presentation of the Lakeville Arena's 2015 annual report. And to provide the background information for this agenda item is Arena Manager Shane Radcliffe.
As you know, the Lakeville Arenas is a joint powers organization between the City of Lakeville and ISD 194. Our purpose is to lease, maintain, operate, and manage the arena complex, which consists of Lakeville Ames and Lakeville Hosty Arenas in the best interests of the community, while undertaking entrepreneurial activities to maximize the return on the public investment. As you can see, overall revenue comparisons continue to be strong and similar to previous years. You can see since 2010 there's been a few peaks, and I've got some notes on the side as to why. Now, back in 2010, we partnered with the city of Burnsville as they were renovating their buildings to operate Hosty Arena during the summer months. So you can see there's a spike there. In 2012 and 13, we partnered with Total Hockey Minnesota, the mini rink downtown, similar situation. They were looking to expand their summer opportunities, and it worked out well. We had Hosty Arena sitting there, so we partnered with them, kept the ice in there. After 2 years, found out it just wasn't financially feasible for them to continue it. And then in 2013, we began offering a second sheet of ice at Ames Arena due to increased demand from our users, so another spike there. In 2014, we had one of our arenas shut down during the spring for planned maintenance, so you can see a little drop off there, and then 2015 again climbed back up to similar levels. Comparing 2015 to 2014, we increased our hours overall by about 200 hours. Some of the biggest increases were in the summer, the summer and AAA teams. AAA teams primarily take place in the springtime, so that's where as we talked about, we were shut down the previous year. So the rest of the hours were very similar to previous years. Our public skating continues to be popular. We had over 3,000 skaters in 2015-16 season. We do offer skate rentals, which has been a great opportunity for us to get non-traditional skaters into the building and attract other groups such as birthday parties, church groups, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, which is what our primary goal is to continue to get non-traditional skaters in there. Our Learn to Skate continues to climb back up. We saw a little drop after the recession, but we're coming right back up, and we had almost 600 participants last year. We do average about 60% retention from year over year, so they're not usually one and done skaters. We usually get them for at least a couple sessions in there, and they do have the opportunity to participate in the annual ice show. Just Figure Skating Club, they are a partnership between the Lakeville, Farmington, and now beginning this year, the Apple Valley Learn to Skate programs. We all joined together several years ago as an opportunity, giving the Learn to Skate skaters a reason to continue on instead of just learning to skate and ending it. So this club, it started with, I think, around 15 members. They're up around 35 members. Unfortunately, they've outgrown all the ice allocation that we can give them. And Farmington, that's why they're reaching out now to Apple Valley to get some additional ice to hopefully continue to grow their program. They had their annual ice show in April of 15. They had over 1,000 people for the 2-day event. So again, another program and partner that we're happy to be partnered with. From a competitive standpoint, last year was good as well. Our South Girls High School team made it to the state tournament and ended in 6th place, and our LHA U12B team won the entire state first place for their age bracket. So it's really good to see that on-ice accomplishments are there, but especially from the girls' side, because continuing to grow the girls' program is always one of the priorities. In addition to ice rental, we continue to focus on non-ice revenue. We do have 3 big buildings, and when we don't need ice, we take the ice out and use it for dry floor events. In the spring every year at Ames Arena, we install artificial turf. We had over 200 hours rented last year, and also we held our annual Fun Fest. We had about 1,100 people attend that event. As well, we had a home design expo, a canine flyball competition, and several kids sales. And as we continue to look at other revenue opportunities, when we did a scoreboard replacement project last year, we were replacing our scoreboard from 1994, which was original, and when we designed it, we wanted to make sure that we maximized the opportunity for revenue, and so we added additional advertising panels, and we partnered with a local signage company to make those signs backlit, so we were able to increase the rental rates when we when we sold them. The scoreboard advertising on just those two boards at Ames increased about 55% from the previous years. We continue to focus on energy efficient operations. We installed an ice plant operating system at Haas Arena last year. It will reduce 5% of our electrical reduction or electric use on a yearly basis. That's about $3,400 in savings. Will help to extend the operating life of the equipment by only operating at peak, at high level when the building is occupied. It was about a $7,300 project, and we were able to get an XL rebate of 24%, so it's just got about a 1.7-year payback. 2016 is looking like a good year as well. Our ice rental hours, public skating, and learn to skate are expected to remain steady with 2015, and our focus on preventative maintenance and energy efficient operations will help to keep all of our operating expenses in check. Overall, our customer satisfaction, arena financial performance, and cooperation between our partners and governing bodies is at all-time high levels, and we're excited at what the future brings. So I stand for any questions that you might have on either this report or the proposed 17 budget in your packet.
Next highlighted item on the agenda is item number 9, public hearing to consider the vacation of a public drainage and utility easement located east of Janelle Path and south of 175th Street. And to provide the background information on this agenda item is City Planner Daryl Morey.
The reason that this isn't on consent is because of the need to vacate the easement in conjunction with the final plat. This was a preliminary plat that was approved and a PUD rezoning approved in February of 2015. It's one lot and it's a little over 3 acres, and it includes a 3-story, 62-unit independent senior living facility that'll be constructed by the Dakota County CDA. And the facility has underground parking, and it's located off of Janelle Path, south of 175th Street, just behind the Argonne Village commercial district. The drainage and utility easement is located on the very east end of the lot right here. It's a 30-foot wide easement that was part of the original Argonne Village commercial plat. Consistent with our past practice, we vacate those underlying easements. The 30-foot easement will be rededicated on the final plat, so it's just removing a layer, so it'll be added right back in. And the plat that is presented is consistent with the preliminary that was approved in 2015, and I know the Dakota County CDA is ready to begin construction of this facility. They've got a building permit application in for city review, so staff is recommending adoption of the 2 resolutions before you this evening, one for the final plat of Argonne Hills, and the second for the easement vacation of the 30-foot drainage and utility easement. Ms. Carrie Gill is here representing the Dakota County CDA, and staff can answer questions as well.
Item number 9 was approved by the Lakeville City Council. Next highlighted item on the agenda is item number 10, public hearing to consider application of Frontier Communications of Minnesota. And to provide the background information on this agenda item is City Cable Attorney Brian Grogan.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Again, for the record, my name is Brian Grogan. I'm with the Minneapolis law firm of Moss & Barnett, here tonight representing the city on this matter. We're here to consider the franchise application of Frontier Communications of Minnesota, Inc. I'm going to be using this PowerPoint to try to proceed through. Tonight, we're primarily here to listen to comments from those who might be interested in this particular application. There's no action item on the council agenda this evening. One of the stated purposes of the Cable Act is to promote competition in cable communications and to minimize unnecessary regulation that would impose an undue economic burden on cable systems. This is just a matter of background to try to set the stage for the kind of proceeding that we're entering into here, one of considering a competitive cable operator compete against Charter Communications here in the city. Franchising authority, which is the city of Lakeville, and you stand as the obviously elected body for that city, so you are the franchising authority. You may award 1 or more cable television franchises within the city. I put in a quote here that's relevant out of federal law, except that a franchising authority may not grant an exclusive franchise and may not unreasonably refuse to award an additional competitive franchise. Again, a standard for your consideration as you proceed through this. Under Minnesota statutes, another particularly important statute to keep in mind is one that is commonly referred to in the industry as level playing field. Specifically, it's that no municipality shall grant an additional franchise for cable service for an area included in the existing franchise on terms and conditions more favorable or less burdensome than those in the existing franchise pertaining to 3 different areas: the area served, public educational governmental access, and franchise fees. Your franchise and ordinance, franchise with charter and the city's cable ordinance, both mirror this level playing field requirement. Something to keep in mind as we proceed forward with Frontier's application. With respect to the process that we're required to follow, we're supposed to publish once each week for 2 successive weeks in a newspaper of general circulation a notice of intent that the city is going out to franchise a competitive operator. We then send that off to any potential applicants, also to the incumbent cable operator. We provide an official application form that mirrors the statutory requirements, and then we proceed to follow the state statutory timeline. Just to set the record clear on this, on April 18th, this council did authorize the publication of a notice of intent, did also approve an official application form. That notice of intent was published on the 22nd and 29th in accordance with the statute. The notice was also directly mailed to Frontier and to Charter Communications, so they'd both be aware of this process. A deadline was set of May 16th, which was at least 20 days beyond the initial publication date, again, a statutory requirement. As of that deadline, only 1 application had been received by the city. That was Frontier Communications of Minnesota. I want to emphasize here the copy that was sent to Charter Communications was not as an expectation that they would submit an application. They have a different set of rules that apply to them with respect to franchise renewal. It was simply a courtesy to make sure they are aware of this proceeding. So we were not expecting any other operator besides Frontier to apply. So on that same date, May 16th, this council went ahead and called for this public hearing, did properly publish notice of that in advance. Tonight we're holding this public hearing. Under the Minnesota statutes, the purpose of this hearing is to afford reasonable notice, reasonable opportunity to be heard with respect to all applicants for a franchise. Really, it's for you to listen to all the parties tonight, take that information in, and then ultimately, our city code requires that the city administrator is to prepare a report for the council's consideration regarding the Frontier application. That will be coming at a subsequent meeting. There's also specific guidance in the city code with respect to criteria that this council can consider. That will be outlined in the administrator's report to you. At this time, the city and Frontier can begin negotiations with respect to a cable franchise. It doesn't mean that we're necessarily proceeding forward with a final agreement, but typically in this process, we would sit down and begin our discussions. Those are commencing, and we'll be moving forward. That will be a separate phase where we'll come back to you with recommended franchise terms, assuming the process unfolds to that level. So with that, this completes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions that you may have, and happy to come back up later in the hearing if you have further questions.
The public hearing was closed for item number 10. Next highlighted item on the agenda was item number 11, consideration of the Linden Ridge preliminary plat. And once again, to provide the background information on this agenda item is City Planner Daryl Morey.
Good evening again. The Linden Ridge preliminary plat is, as Mr. Wiegert mentioned, located on the east side of Hamburg Avenue. It sits between 210th Street to the south and County Road 50 to the north. It's zoned RST2, which is single and 2-family residential district, and the proposal is for RS4 sized single-family lots, which are allowed in the RST2 district. This might be the most exciting exhibit that I have for you this evening. If this looks a little bit familiar, we took this from the Cedar Crossings presentation in May that was before you, and we added Linden Ridge because these 2 preliminary plats are on back-to-back city council meetings, sit right next to each other, and again, as Mr. Wiegert indicated, provide an important minor collector transportation link in 205th Street, which connects Hamburg Avenue to Cedar Avenue. The Village Creek subdivision is to the west. Again, the property is zoned RST2. The RS4 single-family lot standards are proposed, and they are meeting all of those requirements in terms of lot size and building setbacks. It's 93 single-family lots, there's 3 outlots, and it's approximately 37 acres in size. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on the preliminary plat request at their May 19th meeting and unanimously recommended approval. There was public comment from one neighboring resident in the Village Creek subdivision whose primary concern was regarding the existing condition of Hamburg Avenue. That was addressed by staff and the Planning Commission at that meeting. The Parks, Recreation, and Natural Resources Committee also recommended approval of the preliminary plat at their May 18th meeting. And in summary, staff is recommending adoption of the resolution that is in your packet this evening, approving the Linden Ridge preliminary plat subject to 12 conditions, and I can stand for questions.
Item number 11 was approved by the Lakeville City Council. Next highlighted item on the agenda was item number 12, resolution authorizing issuance of 2016 B bonds. And to give the information regarding this agenda item is Finance Director Geraldine Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. The bonds that are being considered tonight are in the amount of $24,145,000. They are funding 4 projects, 2 street reconstruction projects, one from 2015 Phase 2, as well as the 2016 street recon project, the Highview Avenue project, and the lift station number 6 rehabilitation. Tomorrow, Justin and I will be participating in a rating call with Moody's, so we hope to continue our AA1 rating for this bond issuance. Just a few items related to this bond issuance. This bond issuance was discussed at the May 23rd work session. A lot of details went into that, but just for the benefit of the public, prepayments for special assessments have been applied against this project to reduce the overall bond issue. There are 2 city equity contributions, one from the 2014 General Fund 2014 year-end results, as well as a $50,000 property tax levy that was applied to the 2016 project. The overall term of the bonds is 20 years, although the lift station component is at a lower number of years, and the bond structure itself is in compliance with the city's debt service policy. There is an impact certainly on the tax levy for 2017, as well as water operating funds and sewer operating funds. And with that, I will stand for questions.
Item number 12 was approved by the Lakeville City Council. Well, those were the highlighted items presented to the council at their June 6th, 2016 meeting. If you have any questions or comments regarding these agenda items, please feel free to call City Hall. The number is 952-985-4400. Thanks for watching this edition of Lakeville City Council Wrap-Up.